everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Heather and we do fun, fabulous sewing things while being ourselves. So one of the things that I pride myself on is being totally real about what's going on, and I'm going to tell you guys, you're going to see me have a really bad sew day here, which is unfortunate because we are doing this beautiful new pattern that is written super well. It has all the markings that we like. You know, your girl does not like to measure. And it's just, I'm excited. I was asked to do a tutorial by a designer that has not asked me before. And so like, yes, I was so pumped, and it was a rough day for me. And it had nothing at all to do with the pattern, but it was me. I was having a rough go of it. I used material, and you're going to see I switched some things out because I realized it was the material that was messing me up. I used some material from Hobby Lobby, this stuff right here, this cream colored stuff. It was $5 for a yard, and now I understand why, because woof, it messed up my machine, it messed me up. It was like, it was a rough go, and it was the material. It was. But like I said, that stuff happens. Like sometimes you buy something and you think it's going to be great, and then it's awful, and it takes you half a bag to realize it's the material that's messing you up. And that's what happened today. We still make a fabulous bag. In fact, let's talk about it. We're making the Magnolia bag today from Mekaposh Patterns. And it is a big, beautiful tote bag, and I'm obsessed with it. So let's do a little look-see. Look at her. Look at how big she is. Got all these sides. We've got purse feet. You know I love a purse with purse feet. And the front is different panels pieced together. We are using a lock here, and our sides snap together. So you can expand this bag. Okay, regular tote. So two options. Now, our inside, there's a recessed zipper. I'm a big fan of a recessed zipper, really. Okay, and when you open that up, look at how perfect the inside fits together. Now, if there was a silver lining in my awful sewing day, it was this lining. Literally, the silver lining was the lining. I couldn't make that up. I didn't even mean to say it. I don't know. But it fits beautifully. And look at it. It's just like, you sew bags, you know how nice this is. Like it's amazing. We've got a zip pocket with a really cool panel and a perfect spot for a bag tag back here. And then on the front side, we have a slip pocket, and the pattern designer has you splitting this into two, but I like putting a book or a Kindle in here, and so I wanted to keep it as one because I'm going to keep this bag. It's so cute. You guys know I have to keep them bags, and this is one of them. So it's very large. Let me just re-zip it back up and I'll put it on. I am 5'4" for reference. And you guys, these handles, they're different than what we started with. And I will explain why when we get into the video. Let me just re-lock here. And there we go. See? I mean, it's super cute. It is a great tote bag size. The handles are the perfect length for me. And I am a really big fan of how this comes together. I love the piecing. I love the way the pattern's written. You get seam allowances in every step, so you're not questioning, is it this one, is it that one? It's really, look at it, it's so cute. It is a well put together pattern, and even with all my oopsies and aggravations, it's a well put together bag that we did here. So I'm proud I got through it because I really wanted this to come out so good, and it really did. All right, let's head on over to the machine and take a look at our materials. And remember, some of these changed throughout the course of the video because of whatever was going on with our machine today, and get to sewing. All right, so we're at the machine, which we'll get to in a minute, but first I just want to talk about our materials here briefly. So first we'll go over our interior materials. The zipper facing has the absolute perfect spot for a nameplate, bag tag, whatever you want to call it. So our bag tag is custom printed on cork. This is on like a pearl from Heartwood and Hide Co. All of the cream vinyl pieces that we're using are actually from Hobby Lobby. They were, I think I got a yard for $5. So our zipper facing, our slip pocket facing, and our recessed zipper panels are all in this cream from Hobby Lobby. And then all of our interior pieces, including our tops, and our pocket pieces and all of that, is this really pretty 3D looking waterproof canvas. So it's pretty thick from Oh So Pretty Custom Fabrics. It was on pre-order, so it's not something that was readily available, but I did order it because I thought it was really, really pretty. So that's what our interior is. We're gonna set these to the side. Okay, and so our exterior is a blend of that same cream. So this is our base panel, and I have used my Cam Snaps rivet machine to put in my purse feet. So I've done it already because it would be really hard to do later on in the pattern when it suggests that you do it, because I'm using that machine. So I went ahead and did it now. I also added one here in the center because it is a pretty big base, and I felt like it would give a little more stability there in the center to have one. So we are mixing cream with this beautiful rose gold faux croc from Your Vinyl Source. And if you guys have been watching my videos, you know I've been using a lot of material from them, and it's just really easy to sew through. And we are actually making handles for this bag. So if you know anything about me, you know I'm not really a handle making girl, but the handle construction in this bag is a little different. I was curious about it and really wanted to try it. So that's what we're using for our exterior pieces. And then we've got all of our hardware here. So we have two zippers, and we're going with gunmetal to match our purse feet. We have two of our zipper pulls. We're going to use magnetic snap rivets for our side closures, also in gunmetal. So we're going to use our green machine for those as well. And then for our lock, we are using one of these guys that just you push together with strength first and then whatever tool you have. And this is the other side. So really, really simple construction for a lock also. These are my favorite purse locks to use. So that's what we're going with today. That should be all of our materials, unless I remember something later. I'm going to move everything here out of the way because we're going to start with our handles first. Okay, so I have done one strap, and I'm going to show you how to do the straps so that you can see for yourself. But here's what I did. I burnt the material of this strap when I was melting the ends, and this was totally my bad, right? But also I realized that we had some of the selvage edge in our length, and we just did not, we don't have enough. We don't. And so it's a bummer. I'm kind of going to walk you through how to do it, and then what I'm going to do with this instead is we'll make two, we'll have them, but I think that we'll probably end up using webbing as our final straps. So if you see webbing in the beginning of this video or the end or both or whichever, that's going to be why. I did it in a few places, and my machine just doesn't do good with all these layers. So you can see here, that's where I burnt off the material. Like I said, it's totally my bad here. It has nothing to do with the pattern. And I am still going to walk you through how to make the strap. But I think we'll probably, just for the sake of the bag, use webbing for our final strap. Okay, so we're going to take that off. So first things first, you need to go ahead and make a line down the center of your entire strap. And I had found what center would be already. And I think, oh, that's not right. I think that part of making bags is understanding that you can totally pivot. So if you're making a strap and it is not coming out the way that you want it to, like pivot, right? However, if I hadn't have burnt this material or if I had any left and could have redone it, I would have used these handles as is because I think that they're really cool construction wise. All right, so we've got a line down the center. We are going to go ahead. Oh, and our machine, you guys, that we're using is a Juki TL 2010Q. Kind of mad at it right now. It's not sewing as good as, I don't know, you guys, you know, like sometimes there are days when we're just right sides together, joining the ends per the pattern. There are days when my machine sews like butter, and then there are days when it doesn't, and we're on a day that it doesn't. Could be me, but I don't think so. Now the instructions are going to have you using double-sided tape everywhere, and if you've watched me before, you know I am not all here for double-sided tape, and it's because of my machine because she gets super angry. All right, so we're just opening this up, and you can put double-sided tape to hold it down, or you can just start your fold here, and you're just going to fold both of your edges into that middle line that you made all the way around. Okay, and then this side is coming up to meet that. So I'm going to do that off camera because watching me fold this is going to drive you crazy because this might be what takes the longest of this whole bag. It's these straps. Now, if you were putting double-sided tape on here, you're not going to be clipping every 3 seconds. But it's really all about what your machine can take and understanding what material to use and things like that. So I'm going to keep clipping so I can show you how to construct this strap, even though we're not going to use them. And then I'll come back. All right, so we have it clipped to the center, right? And now we're going to make it so that the right side is on the outside of our loop and the wrong sides are facing each other. And we want to find our seam. There it is. So here's our seam here. Okay, we just want that to be centered. Now with wrong sides together and right sides out on both sides, we're going to start to clip together. And again, if you're using double-sided tape, this is going to look different for you, but I did just want to walk you through because I was unsure about what wrong sides together meant, but basically we're making our straps so that all you see is right sides. And it was pretty genius. When I first read it, I was like, wait, what? So I'm just gonna clip these together. I'm gonna go through the whole thing with you. My boo-boo doesn't have to be our boo-boo. Makes about a 1-inch wide strap in total. We're just removing the pieces that we don't need anymore. You can kind of remove some clips and stuff too while we're at it. We're just folding now both sides together. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then I will show you what it looks like and what we're working with here. All right, so we've clipped everything together, and you can see now it's just right side and right side, okay? Which is why I think this is just such a cool concept. It really just turns itself in on itself. I've made markings, so we're just gonna stitch per the pattern, top stitch in between the marking at the top and the bottom. Okay, and then same thing down the other side. Take some of these clips away first. And then you leave the ends on top stitch because that's what you would be connecting to the bag. If only I could put all the clips the same direction. And there we go. So that's how you make this, that's how you should be making the straps. Of course, ours are gonna end up a little different, but then here you stitch them onto your bag, picking up that top stitch where you left off. And it just like makes for like a nice seamless effect. So we're gonna set these to the side. And because we're using webbing, you don't have to do a single thing to it. I grabbed some 1-inch webbing, so it's just as wide as these are. And we're gonna put them on, and we'll crimp the ends with some strap ends so that it sort of makes it look a little bit fancy. So we're gonna set this to the side for now, and we're gonna grab our flat pieces. All right, so we have our 2 flat panel pieces, and this one I've already folded over. Again, we're not using double-sided tape here. This is our one with interfacing, and we have one without. The pattern is gonna tell you to make marks, and you're folding into those marks. We really do avoid double-sided tape at all costs. Okay, so I'm gonna do that on all 4 sides, and then I'll show you what we do here in the corners. So when you fold it over in your corners, you're gonna end up with this like, almost like a tail, and you're just gonna clip it off and then fold. It's not perfect, and it's also not my favorite way to make panels, but it is how a lot of people do them. So we're just gonna roll with it. All right. Now we want to put our panels together. And so I'm gonna do that off camera because we're basically just clipping them together. So I'm gonna end up removing most of these clips so that we can place them together. So we put our wrong sides together, right sides out on both sides. All right, so we're clipped together here, and we're gonna leave one short side unsewn, and we're gonna top stitch down the long side across this short side and back up the long side. We are sewing over the Decaville here, so just going to be mindful of that. Sort of take our time, be patient so we get a nice top stitch. My machine also does not do well sewing through interfacing like Decaville Heavy, so something to keep in mind. Your machine's capabilities. I thought we'd be okay with this vinyl, but we're definitely on the struggle bus here. All right, yeah, we're gonna have to redo because we got way off, so off camera we will redo it. It's not a great day here at this machine, and maybe, okay. All right, I'm gonna show you what happened. Look at the back. Obviously, that is not something that we can use, and that is unfortunate. But ideally, you would just, you know, whoop, right like that. and you'd be all set and good to go. We are going to remake our flap off camera, and then we will go back to what would be the next step for you in the bag making, which would be applying the lock. All right, we did it. Not using contrasting material, but that's totally fine. So what I ended up doing, you guys, is I made the interfacing smaller so that we weren't sewing through it. So I took about 1/4 inch off of all the sides just to be totally sure that we were going to be safe. Okay, and we're just going to find our center by creasing, and then we're going to put that center right there in our lock. And this is how easy it is, you guys. We're just going to smush it into place. And then we're going to come in here with our key fob tool and really just get in there. You can see those little teeth dig into our material. And now we're sure that our lock is good to go. Okay, so we're going to set this to the side for now. We're going to start building our front panel. And we're going to hope that that goes much better than these other pieces so far. So what we're going to start with is we're going to pick a side. And our material is angled, right? Because our bag is. And so just keeping that in mind, we're just going to pick. We're going to clip. And you just want to make sure you follow the seam allowance in the pattern here, okay? Because that'll be really important to make sure that your pieces line up the way that they're supposed to, that you follow the seam allowance. And then we're going to flip. And you want your seam allowance to stay underneath your accent piece. We're going to top stitch. And the top stitch is just 1/8 of an inch stitch. This cream material is not easy to sew on. I'm kind of really glad we're just using it as accents, if I'm being totally honest, because yikes. All right, now we're going to take our accent piece and we're going to attach it to our base panel. Same thing here. And here you want your seam allowance to stay underneath your base panel this way. And do a top stitch. And you know what? I might put our Teflon foot on for this and see if that makes a bit of a difference here. So let me change that out. All right, our Teflon foot is on. Let's see if that makes a difference. It does, so that's great. Can't leave our Teflon foot on because it won't go through multi-layers, but at least we can use it now. Much better. Okay, and then we're gonna do the other side. Same way, make sure that your angles line up. I am not a change your foot girl, so dislike, but that's okay. It's working for us, so I'll deal with my dislike. Get some of these guys out of the way. Okay. Just making sure everything's underneath where we're trying to stitch. Maybe my flap would have come out better if I had a Teflon foot on. Okay, there we go. Now we want to take our center flap piece, and it doesn't matter what side you start on, but you want to line it up. I have seen some of the tester bags and people are doing such cool things. I'm really enjoying seeing everyone's different perspective on this bag. I think these front panels allow for so much creativity. It's so cool. Anytime 10 people can make the same pattern and get a totally different result, it's like I'm there for it. And so here's where my frustration comes in. We obviously have a little hump there, and this foot just doesn't do anything. Just kind of hangs out there. So we've skipped stitches, and we're not going through a lot of material, so it is frustrating. Looks like we got it. All right, once again, we are top stitching on our tan material, so our seam allowance is going to go behind it. I'm a little concerned about when we get to the different heights, but I guess we'll see what happens. We will take our time when we get here. See if that helps. We skipped a stitch again, so that's infuriating. If there was ever a time you were gonna see my patience be totally tested, it is right now. So to fix a skip stitch, I just go up past it and then back through until you've sort of made your way beyond it. But we're not going to be using this material anymore. Testing Mama's patience here. Can feel my face is red. I'm upset. It is not the bag pattern. Trust, it is this tan material. It's not even me. Sometimes it's me. Right now, it is not. Okay. And this time around, since I know that we skipped stitches when we went over the last hump, I'm just going to go back and forth over that as we get here to make sure. That way we don't have to go back in. See, we're skipping. This is why we use the tank foot. This is why, you guys. Looks like we got it though, finally. Finally. See how cute? So cute. Totally worth my aggravation. I'm on one right now, so. Oh. I just want it to be pretty. We're going to take our time. We're going to use our material to sort of like jump over. I think that's what the issue is. It's just the difference in material height. See if that did it, you guys. Nope. It didn't make any difference. Okay, here we go. Oh, and it skipped stitches in 2 places. Oh yeah. Losing my marbles here. Okay. It is not my needle. My needle is new. Bobbin's new. All these things. They are new. My machine is testing my ability to be calm. All right, now we're good. We're good to go. Front panel's finished. We did it. We did it. We are not interfacing these, so we do not have to worry about drawing the lines or anything like that. If you wanted to interface, you absolutely could, but we don't need to. Okay, so I am going to just trim up. I'm going to make sure our front panel and our back panel are the same size and that they match each other. And I'm just going to grab the pattern piece for the handle connectors because I want to go ahead and put those on here, but I don't want to show the pattern piece on. So this pattern designer has markings for your flap, markings for your handles, and markings for your snaps. So you don't have to figure out any of that on your own, which I absolutely love. So I'm just going to make those markings off camera and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've made our marks for our snaps. What we're going to do is our handle first. And so we've made those marks also. I don't know if you can see them. I am going to use just a little bit of double-sided tape here. I want to keep our handle where we want it. And we're not going to be sewing over this, which is why I'm not at all concerned about the double-sided tape here. We're going to leave, like I said, our ends so that we can crimp on a strap end. So we're not going to stitch this whole thing. We are going to put it in the box though. And then I'm going to make a mark with our air erasing marker where the top of our box is. So we know where to pivot. And then making sure that our strap is going the correct way. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna go ahead and stitch these on and we're gonna go up to our, we're not going to start at the bottom because we're going to crimp on ends. Let me show you what I mean when I say that. We have these metal ends that will crimp on to sort of give it that finished look since it is webbing and not really our strap. So we'll go ahead and we're going to make a mark a 1/2 inch up from the bottom because we don't want to stitch below that. We'll put our crimper back on just to make sure that that's accurate. That will be perfect. Just a way to make the straps look a little bit nicer since they're not what we intended. We're going to change our foot back to our walking foot as well here. All right, let's go ahead and sew these on. We're just going to start at that bottom line that we made. Pivot up. And across at our top line. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna leave our crimpers off for now. We'll do that in the last step. We will go ahead and do this one exactly the same. And we're gonna go ahead and put on our back panel handles as well. And we're just gonna pop 2 rivets directly in the center of each. Okay, so we have our rivets. We have not set them yet. We're going to attach our snaps while we're at it. Now the front side gets the male side snaps. And the back side gets the female side. If you have never used rivet snaps before, I can't recommend them enough. They are fabulous. Okay, those are the female sides. Now I am just going to grab some scrap Decaville. I know we have some in here. I like to just put some scrap pieces to make sure that we reinforce our snaps. I'm just going to poke holes in the center. Nothing crazy. Just enough to get our posts through. Okay. So, male side's on the front. And we'll put a piece of scrap Decaville. And then our cap. And that's why I love these, because they're so simple. Then we just have to press them when we get to the machine, which we're going to do off camera because my machine is set up off camera as well. Okay, you just want to make sure that you have both male sides on the front, and then on the back, we'll do both female sides. There we go. All right, just like that. So we'll press those and our rivets when we get to the machine. While we're here, we are going to put on our flat piece. Before we press anything, we're just going to find our centers at the top and the bottom. We have made our flap mark. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I center us on here. Okay. So that's where we want the center of our flap to go. Like so, you guys. We're just going to take her to the machine and we're going to do 1/8 of an inch and then 1/4 inch stitch. We'll re-find our center one more time because we lost it. There we go. All right, fingers crossed that this works out for us. Make sure your lock is going the way that you want it to and you're not sewing it upside down. That would be exactly what would happen to us right now. That's okay, we all have bad days. Does not mean we're bad sewers. All right, so there's one stitch. Our bag is pushing back against us here. And there's two. And now our flap is actually sewn on. It looks great. Not worried about it one bit. We might actually do a 3rd row of stitching here, just to be safe. Never be too careful with the flap. There we go. All right, super secure. So that is all set. The only other thing that we need to do on our panels is attach our other side of, I'm just grabbing it, our lock. And to do that, we're once again just going to clip our centers. The pattern is going to tell you how far down you want to go with your marking in the center. So with that in mind, I'm just going to line up our top and our bottom clips. And I'm going to make a mark. 3 inches down from the top. Okay, that's where we want our lock to go. And so this does utilize a washer, and so our center here. We're going to use that top mark. And we're going to cut slits, and we're going to grab that scrap Decaville one more time here because we want to put a backing to our washer as well. See, scrap pieces come in handy. It is totally fine to have a giant scrap drawer. That's what I keep telling myself. So we're just going to make our marks on this just like we did on our material. We're going to grab our seam ripper and just rip in our slits. And here we're just going to be pretty cautious. We don't want to rip too far. There we go. Add our Decaville to make sure that it stays kind of solid in there. And then our washer. And I like to push these outward. I don't know if it actually makes a difference or not, but that's what I like. I prefer. There we go. Our closure is there. We're going to take just some self-adhesive binding and cover our metal pieces. Okay, and so off camera I am going to attach our rivets and our snaps, and then we'll come back and move on to the next piece. All right, we're all pressed and we're ready. We're ready to put our base panel on, which is like so exciting. So we're just going to match up our center markings here, and we've gone ahead and drawn lines on both sides per the pattern. I'm going to match up our center up where we should. Get a little bit of excess there. I'm just clipping it on, and we have our purse feet on already, so our material is going to want to sort of shift around, and we just have to reshift it. Okay, so we're going to start sewing at that line and stop at the other one, and make sure you follow the seam allowance in the pattern here. Okay, good back stitch. It should have kept you pretty much right alongside your interfacing. Now I'm a little torn because what we need to do now is top stitch on this panel. But I don't want to skip stitches. So I think I'm just gonna make my stitch length pretty long and see if that can kind of get us over what we need. So everything is behind our base panel, and we're just gonna stitch on our base panel, not where we left open though, okay? So don't want to start in the unstitched parts, you want to start in the stitched parts. Let's fingers crossed here for us, people. We're going. It is a struggle. I don't know what's worse. I don't know what's better. We're at a 6, we're not stitching at a 6 because we're just stuck. So we're just taking it for what it is. And we just want to be mindful to where we're stopping. All right. All in all, could have been worse. Off camera, I'm going to go ahead and attach our other panel exactly the same way to this side of our base so that we can go ahead and start to join our sides. Okay, so the last thing that you need to do on your front panel is lined up with those marks. You just want to cut a slit, and this is going to make it so that our material folds. Where we want it to. Onto our base panel. It's going to create a really nice bottom. All right. We can go ahead and match up our top all the way down, and the pattern has you folding over your top edge using double-sided tape. Because we're not doing that with double-sided tape, we're just going to hold off on folding of our edge until we do our final drop-in lining. But however you choose to do it is totally fine, obviously. And it's great that our snaps match up. That's always a good sign. It's going to be really important that you follow the seam allowance here so that your panels match appropriately. All right. I'm going to go ahead and sew down from the top on both sides, again making sure that we follow the seam allowance. This is a really large bag, so I'm having to use like all of my arms to move it. and to keep it where we want it. Sorry, if that moved you. You hit the light. All right, that's one side. And the second side here. And that sound is just my the walking part of my foot looking for material. I'm gonna hit you once again here, camera, so bear with me. All right, there we go. Now we can do our corners, and then we're gonna be all done with the exterior of our bag. So you just want to match up your centers. We're gonna butterfly open our side seam, like so, and then we just wanna pull our material. And you can see we have a really nice edge here. Okay. And so if you need to adjust, feel free to adjust. It looks like this needs to come down just a little. Alright, so we're going to take this and we're going to stitch from corner to corner, making sure that we enclose everything appropriately. Again, we're going corner to corner here. Don't want any gaps. Just scoot in here and take a look. We're going to go over it one more time. Okay, that looks good. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, and then we will turn our bag out. All right, we're gonna set our exterior aside for now, and we're gonna grab what we need for our zipper panels, which has me a little horrified. because of how absolutely hard this material sews, but this is what we have. So this is what we're going to use. First things first here, we're gonna go ahead and mark a 1/2 inch. We're gonna grab our chalk that's around here somewhere. So we need to make a 90-degree angle on one side. And to do that, we're just gonna open, and at that mark that we made a 1/2 inch down, that's where we're folding over. And this is just a baste in place here, so nothing crazy. And I just like to still burn our ends here. All right, so that is done. All right, so we switched our material because we had to. I just could not take any more of that terrible cream vinyl and how absolutely hard it was sewing, and I'm tired of it ruining my mood and our bag. So we recut all of our pieces for the interior that were made from that, including our recessed zipper panels. We're gonna fix it. All right. So here you're instructed to use double-sided tape again, and again we are not. We measured and we're folding up to that line. Then we are going to find the center of our panel. This is waterproof canvas, so it creases really nicely. And we're just going to draw a mark down that crease. Okay. And we want to go ahead and turn our zip tape so that it is right side down onto the wrong side of our material. We're just clipping in place. Okay. And then we're going to baste this in place. All right, once we have that basted, we're going to fold. And we're going to go ahead and just match our ends here. And then we'll clip down the rest. Okay. And then we're going to stitch this together using a full seam allowance. Just gonna be really cautious. We're not using metal teeth, but I still don't like to go over zip teeth too quickly. Your girl hates to break a needle, and how today has gone, that would be exactly what happens. Okay, and then we're gonna give it a turn. We're gonna poke that out really nicely here. Look at how cute. I would normally have done these in a vinyl, but we did not have enough of that faux croc, and like I said, I am done playing around with that other stuff. Done, done, done. All right, so what we want to do here is we want to top stitch, and then we're just going to take it all the way around. Basically want to baste these together. And because we decided to use this material instead of that terrible vinyl, that's what we're going to call it from now on, the terrible, terrible vinyl, we can top stitch with no issues. I normally like a contrasting recessed zipper panel, but do you know what I like more than that? One that looks good. So here we are. And then, like I said, we're just going to take it down and baste across this side. This will get sewn in. And then we're going to just come right back up. Okay. And then we're going to do our other panel exactly the same way on this side. All right. We have one of our lining panels, and we have one of our pieces that we've replaced with the croc. Originally it was that other material that we are not playing around with anymore. We are using double-sided tape here. It is necessary when you do zip overlays like this. We have also already attached our name tag. And I have just drawn a line with chalk here and a center marking so that we can place this appropriately. And I'm just creasing. There we go. All right, we're just going to stitch around the outside of this entire thing. Not the inside, just the outside. And you can start where you'd like. I prefer to start at the bottom because you're less likely to see that. And we're just top stitching, which is just the 1/8 of an inch. There are curves, so just be mindful of your needle. whole outside bit is a curve, so keep that in mind. And I would say at this point, a lot of the difficult stuff that we're doing here in this bag is complete. After we put in this zip pocket, we just have a slip pocket. And then to sew in our recessed zipper panels and our top pieces, and then we get to put our bag together. So, grand scheme, almost there. Even with all of our really frustrating fabric mishaps, material mishaps. And right back to where we started. Okay. Now we take our seam ripper. So we know where we're headed, and we're just going to cut out our zip hole here. And you just don't want to cut your zipper facing at all, so make sure you pull away from that. So we're going to go around this whole thing and cut out our lining fabric. Alright, so this does not have to look perfect from this side, because from this side it looks totally fine. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get our zippers on our panels. So with our zipper teeth side up, we're just going to paste this on to our panel. And when you make a zipper panel, you want to remember you want your good sides to be on the inside. Okay, now you're going to take your other side and again zip right side up, matching. There we go. Now we do want to open this up. So I think we're going to stitch a little bit further in here, just a little, so that we got a little extra to play with. Same thing over here, just a little bit. All right, we're going to open this up and we're going to push down our material, our zip, our everything, and we're going to put some more double-sided tape. Just do your best here to push this down. Could stitch it down if you wanted. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the top. All right, we've got our tape on, and now we'll take our zip pull and we're gonna feed it on so that our bag opens to the right and is closed to the left. We'll make sure our zip recess panel goes on the same way. Okay, awesome. Awesome. There we go. We're on. Gonna keep pushing these down. Just press them as good as you can. We're gonna sew this box all the way around, so we're gonna remove both sides of double-sided tape. We're gonna grab our panel, try to center, and I'm gonna do this off camera so I can pull this closer to me and I can actually see it, and we're just gonna stick our double-sided tape to the back of our facing. All right, once you pretty much have it stuck where you want it, we'll take the whole thing to the machine. We have our top zip panel going up and our bottom going down. We are going to go ahead and just stitch around our zip box now. We are going through double-sided tape here, so let's hope the sewing gods have had enough of us today and will leave us be. We'll just take our time here going over the zip tape. And then we'll just come right back down to where we started. There we go. All right, so now we're just going to pull our panel down, our zip panel. And we want to go ahead and stitch these together. Now one is going to be longer than the other, and we will just trim that right down. Okay, so we'll pull everything else back and close our pocket. And we're just tapering in to make sure that we get all of our pieces. Here we need to come in just a little bit because we have uneven bottom. That should do it. Let's just double check. Oh yeah, we're all closed off now, so we'll go ahead and burn our zip ends here so that they don't fray over time, and then we will grab our slip pocket and our other lining piece side and get to work on that. All right, so this is the back of our slip pocket. Once again, we're going to be asked to put double-sided tape, and we're just not going to do that. So we are folding over our edges. We have made our lines. We're just clipping instead of using double-sided tape. We are putting a facing on this, which makes this slip pocket really easy. So I do like this method. It's the double-sided tape for me. I cannot, especially with the day we're having. And then you're just folding it together. Like I said, because we're using a zipper facing, this really becomes super simple. Okay, same thing over here. Make sure everything lines up. Perfect. I want this side to be the outside, so we're going to just stitch across the top here so that everything stays together. And this is just a based stitch. Okay. Now we'll grab our crock and we're going to fold it in half. We're not making a mark, we're just folding. We're not gonna add more work to ourselves. We'll be able to see this fold. This is longer than we need. Like I said, I just went back and I grabbed what I could. Oh, I could cry, I think. All right, we're just gonna stitch this on. We're gonna go about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. We caught it, and that's all that matters to me today. Sometimes I'll do another line, but not today. Not today. All right, we're gonna go in here and just cut off our excess. This is vinyl, so it's fine that it's raw edge. I went ahead and made the same mark that I did for our zip pocket for our slip pocket. Like so. Okay. We're gonna transfer and go straight down our slip pocket. You can clip or tape this in place. I'm just gonna continue to make sure it stays where I want it. Move it as necessary. So as I go along the bottom here, I'm just gonna make sure that we are still lined up with the top. Okay, and right back up the last side. The pattern designer is going to have you go ahead and put a center in this pocket so that it gives you two, but I actually like a larger slip pocket, and I will probably end up adding this bag to my collection. So I'm going to leave this slip pocket as it is because I like to be able to put in some of my electronic stuff in there, and so I like to be able to reach in, especially in a big tote bag. So I'm going to leave that as is, but there are really good instructions in there for creating a center to your pocket. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and grab our zip lining. We're going to take one of our facing pieces here and our recessed zipper panel, and we're just going to find our centers on both of these while we're at it. I'm going to go ahead and now we just want our zip panel to have the zippers going in the exact same direction. So I'm going to baste this in place, matching our centers, just so that it doesn't move on us when we add our top. And it's going to be really important that you follow the seam allowances here. That way everything fits really nicely. So we're going to go ahead and take our panel and match it up, right sides together. Clip all the way across here. All right, so together. Make sure that your zip pull is not in the way at all. We're going to top stitch, and we want to top stitch with our zip panel up and the seam allowance behind our lining. our main lining, our large lining, not the facing, okay? Beautiful. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing. I'm just gonna close off our zipper here, just the end. We're gonna do the exact same thing to the other panel. This will just make it so that our zipper doesn't come off. And then we'll be able to close up our lining pieces. All right. Everything is sewn in and good to go. We're gonna line up our side panels, making sure that our tops match here where we've intersected material. And then we'll clip down all the sides. We're gonna sew them together just like we did our exterior panels. So I'm actually not gonna show you that part. Because it's the same, and we don't really need to watch that. We're just going to stitch together the sides and the base, and then we'll box our corners. So I'll stitch together the sides and the base and come back and box the corners because it is a little bit different than how we did our exterior boxed corners. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to show you how to box this corner. So you just want to pull it, and we're going to nest the seams here. Alright, and then sew together. Easy peasy. Just gonna go ahead and take off some of our excess. All right, now this next step here, we have our exterior and our top is folded in. This is a drop-in lining. Okay. And then we're gonna take, let me just move you up a little bit. Now we want our zipper panel to be on our back side. We're gonna take our lining, we're gonna smush it in there. Okay. So you can see our zip is on the back. There we go. All right, now what we need to do is we need to fold our interior panels in like this, basically, towards our finished exterior. So we're gonna do that and add our inside into our clippies, and then we'll come back and do our final top stitch, which I am extremely worried about because we've had a bad day here, but that's okay because we're gonna do it and it's gonna look fabulous. All right, so I'm gonna clip these and we'll come back. All right, so we are clipped up. I'm gonna move you guys to what I think is a better angle for watching us stitch this. I'm a little worried because we've been eating up material for some reason that I just cannot figure out that we're gonna eat up when we top stitch, but we're gonna have to let that go and just do it. So I'm gonna start from the back above where the handle is. This will be a little funky as we get in here, so don't mind my arm, I promise I'll move. Okay, here we are. We're in. We're gonna take our time here. Take it nice and slow. Just hope for the best. We're gonna move our bag as we go, and I'm just gonna pay attention to anything that could be considered like a tough spot. So as we come up to where our materials meet, that is going to be considered a tough spot for us because it's just going to be a little bulkier. So we're going to take our time here. Now, as we get across the front, it should be pretty smooth sailing, except when we get to that little bit where our accent strip is. That's really the only thing that I can see giving us trouble. Just make sure, again, that anything you don't want in this top stitch is out of the way. Doing a number on my nails here. Okay, we're coming up to the bulky bit that I was referring to. So we're gonna take it slow, super slow. We're gonna practice the patience that we almost lost a lot of times. Gonna keep our fingers crossed that it's gonna come out well. And you just keep moving your bag. You want to be mindful of your snaps, of course. Again, coming up on what could be considered a bulky bit. So we'll be patient here, take our time, just make sure we don't mess it up. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, we're back on the back side here. Making sure the flap and the handles are out of the way. Just going to cut off our long tail down here before we get there. And we just want to make sure that we meet back up where we started. We'll go a couple stitches and back. Okay. All right, I'm gonna fix the camera angle. We'll take a look and then we'll do our finishing touches. All right, so for us, finishing touches are going to be finishing off our zip end. And so to do that, we are just going to encase our end in some scrap crock. And we'll stitch it on. Make sure your zipper pull is on. Obviously, we put ours on already. You do not want to put a zip end on without a zipper pull. And because this is vinyl, it's fine to be raw edge, so we're just gonna cut off our excess. Trim these up. All right, and then that is good to go, so that can go back in here. Okay, and then we need to put our clamps on. Where did we put those? Here we are. So we're going to use our key fob tool here again, like we used for our lock. And basically, we're just gonna pop this on right over the end. Make sure it's in the middle. Angle for me. And clamp. See? See how cute that looks and gives it just that nice little professional touch? So we're going to do that to the other 3 ends, and then we'll be able to take a look at our final bag. All right, you guys. We did it. We are done. Woo. We put the last of our crimping ends on. And it just, like I said, because we ended up having to use webbing, I wanted to do something to just like make it match the tone of the bag a little bit more, and leaving the raw webbing edge, that wasn't it for me. It is usually, but not with this bag. So let's take one final walk through. We've got our snapped sides. We've got our awesome bottom. And this stands up really well on its own. We did not add interfacing on the main panels because I knew that our interior waterproof canvas was going to give it a lot of structure. We'll take one final look inside. They're beautiful pockets and a really fun lining. I just love this stuff so much. And our stitching, for the most part, came out really good once we realized our issue was our $5 material from Hobby Lobby. I know, I should have known. I should have known, but I didn't, and here we are. I know now. I do. I will not be making that mistake again. But that's the thing, right, you guys? Sometimes when you sew, you make mistakes. And you just happened to see about 18,000 of them in one video from me. But I believe in that. I really do. I could have edited every single one out. I could have given up. I could have stopped and been like, you know what? No, I can't do it. It's not me, not for me. But that's not who I am. I like to show you the real me and what it means when I make a bag. And so that's what you got today. The unedited real me version of us making this beautiful bag. You guys, again, the Magnolia bag from Mekaposh Patterns. The link will be in the description box for you to purchase the pattern yourself. And don't use $5 vinyl. You'll be totally fine when you make this. Totally fine. And everything else that I can link will be linked in the description box below. So make sure you expand that, check and see what's there. These purse locks are in my Amazon storefront, so they'll be there. And I will try to provide links for everything else that I can so that you guys can check them out. If you liked anything that I used today, you can grab it yourself. I hope that you enjoyed this bag today. I hope you stuck with me through all of those oh my gosh moments, because you're the real MVP. You are. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so, so much, like always. I really hope that you'll grab this bag and make it. And it's going to fit all your essentials. Great work bag, great vacation bag, great take a trip on an airplane bag. It's perfect. I love it. You'll love it too. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and I will see you soon.